Ahead of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day tomorrow, it's marked on the day globally that the Red Army liberated Auschwitz. There's a brand new documentary film being released that examines the topic of how Jews went above and beyond, risked their own lives, their own families, to save other Jews during the Holocaust. The documentary is called Recognition. Take a look.
The Camp des Milles was a terrible place. Men and women, of course, the family were separated, and my mother was with a woman. She tried to convince the mothers to give her the children and babies, because OSE had an organization already to put the children into houses to keep them. At this time, the 14 houses of OSE were still official houses, only in the free zone of France. And she saved this way some children. In September 42, the camp was closed. That means that the French government, the French police, put all these people to train. It was just in front of the entrance of the Camp des Milles.
With us now is Professor of Jewish History Gideon Greif and Alan Schneider, the head of B'nai B'rith Israel, who helped make this new eye-opening film. Thank you both for being with me. Professor, I want to start with you if I can. The idea of Jews risking their own families, their own safety to help another Jew try and escape the atrocities. Why would someone do that? What are the reasons that, for that?
On one hand, it's self-understood. He is Jewish, I'm Jewish, I have to help him. It's natural, the most natural thing in the world. But it isn't so. In times of agony, in times of grief, in times of disaster, most people are concentrated in their own family, in their own fate, and are less sensitive to the suffering of others. In this film, directed by Shoshi Ben Chamo and produced by Dr. Abraham Khuli and supported very much by B'nai B'rith Israel under the leadership of lawyer Alan Schneider, who is with us here, we try to show that many Jews risk their own life to save other Jews, some of them they haven't seen in their whole life, totally strangers.
In what ways would they help?
Supporting place for hiding, supporting money for hiding, giving fake documents, allowing them to cross the borders. Let me give you one example, which was just mentioned in this footage. Marianne Cohen from France, a young Jewess who took thousands of Jewish children from France to Switzerland, which was neutral, and paid with her own life. She was caught, tortured to death. She's a hero, and she risked her own life.
If she had wanted to, saved her own life earlier on in the effort.
She didn't think about her own life. She thought about Jewish children whom she saved. It's fantastic. And this film shows this phenomenon of Jews saving Jews. It's a relatively new topic, and in this film, which is over 2 hours, we try to focus on this fantastic phenomenon.
Alan, tell me about your involvement in producing, helping get this documentary made. What was your involvement?
Well, Jeff, B'nai B'rith has been involved now for over 20 years in trying to raise the profile of Jewish rescuers in Holocaust historiography. It's an issue that was known over the years, but really it was much more focus given on other aspects of the Holocaust, including righteous among the Gentiles, and we felt. As I say, going back about 20 years now, we helped to form a committee under the leadership of Chaim Roth, who was a Dutch Holocaust survivor who was actually rescued by Jews and non-Jews together. And he had the idea that it's high time to recognize Jews who helped to rescue fellow Jews during the Holocaust and risked their lives doing so.
What did you learn from this documentary, from the process of compiling the stories and the research?
Well, I'll tell you, until now, over the last 20 years or so, we have compiled over 600 stories of individuals who acted alone in some cases, and in other cases in very large groups and organizations that were formed to rescue fellow Jews. For example, in Hungary, there was a Zionist underground, youth Zionist underground that encompassed hundreds of people who, at the Holocaust took place in Hungary at the very end of the war. They were prepared, they were primed for the tragedy that befell Hungarian Jewry, but they were able to save thousands and thousands of children and older people because they were ready. Went underground. Actually, on the very day that the German army invaded Hungary and began their efforts to rescue Jews. So. The stories are very varied. When we launched the film just on Sunday, we took the opportunity to present our Jewish rescuer citation to Teddy Kollek in memory of Teddy Kollek. His daughter, Osnat, was there to receive the certificate in his honor, because it's really not known, but Teddy undertook many rescue activities and even traveled to Vienna in April 1939, and that's after the Anschluss, after the first concentration camps were open. After Kristallnacht, he traveled to Vienna and met with Adolf Eichmann at the SS headquarters in order to convince him to release Jews, that he was refusing to do, and he succeeded in convincing Eichmann to allow a large group of maybe in the thousands of young Jews to leave for England, and many of them then went on to mandatory Palestine after that.
Yeah, Professor, I know the reality is a lot of scholarly research and a lot of the public's attention deals with the issue of the difficult decisions Jews had to make to save their own lives. Obviously, the stories of Kapos, but even in recent days now, this new book alleging that that there was a fellow Jew on the Amsterdam War Council who allegedly turned in hiding addresses to give up the Frank family to save his own family. The idea, so much focus is on Jews who made difficult decisions under impossible circumstances to save their own families. And this, yeah, go ahead.
Allow me to comment. First of all, I'm not sure that the last identification is the last one. We will hear other versions in the future. I'm confident. So it's not 100% sure that this Dutch Jew was the person who betrayed the Frank family. During the Holocaust, all decisions made by Jews and caused by the Germans were tragic ones. You did this, it was bad. The other direction, the same. You never knew where do your decisions lead you, because it's the most tragic period in the history of the Jewish people. Every decision was fatal.
So what do you hope people learn from this documentary, from Recognition?
A lot. First of all, that good-hearted people are always there, Jews or non-Jews. And in the case of the Jews behaved in a very kind manner, very noble manner, even in the worst period in their history. Yeah. In the darkest times of history, Jews said to themselves, yes, I'm in danger, but I would like to help my colleague or a totally different stranger. Yeah. A stranger. And I think it's a good label for the behavior of the Jewish people during the Holocaust. And I'm very thankful to Shoshi Ben Chamo, to Dr. Avraham Khuli, and to Alan Schneider for supporting such an important, essential idea to be now shown to the whole world.